So why, Michael, it seems to me that the most effective sanctions now are our strikes by Ukrainian defense forces on Russian oil refineries?
Not only on the refineries, but also all the oil and gas infrastructures. Last night, for example, we 2 days ago, we struck to the pipelines between Belarus and Russian Federation on the Russian territory. Obviously, we don't strike on Belarus territory, but this is the pipelines between the Belarusian refineries and Russian oil producers. Because we have no possibility to strike Belarusian refineries. They are like neutral in this war. But they produce the Russian oil, and they produce it and they sell it to the Russian army. So in this case, our special forces just strike the pipelines and not the refineries. But yes, during last couple of months, let's say, we struck about 10 refineries out of 50. Russians, they have about 50 refineries, so 10 out of 50 were struck, and half of them just stopped, and another half is reduced the production of the gasoline, etc. And we could see that on the Russian market, the prices of gasoline is highest. They're on the highest historical level inside Russian Federation. That's first, and second, they have a lack of gasoline in part of Russian regions. It is mostly in southern regions, in occupied territories, by the way, in Crimea, for example, and in Zaporizhia, Ukrainian occupied territories. But the first time they feel it also inside Moscow and inside St. Petersburg. There were reports on last weekend that also inside Moscow and St. Petersburg, they don't have enough modern gasoline, let's say the high level gasoline.
Yes, and it very good news for us, but it seems to me that all Russians will keep calm, and we will not see any protests or any actions against Putin's regime.
I also don't believe in any protests. That they don't have any chance. The protests, they were taken at the beginning of the war, and thousands of Russian citizens, they went to jail for these protests, and some part were killed by Russian special forces. But from this time, a long time were spent by Russian oppositions for nothing. And inside Russia, the laws inside Russia, they become tougher and tougher and tougher. And the last news about Russian opposition is the news from today, just from today. We have one of opposition leaders, Mr. Ilya Yashin. He was jailed for anti-war position during almost 2 years. And last autumn, before 1 year ago, something like that, he was released in the framework of exchange of prisoners with United States and Germany. He was released from the jail, but he was thrown out of Russian Federation. And he did not agree to be released. He wanted to sit in the jail. He wanted to stay in Russian Federation. So today, Russian Federation, they canceled his passport and canceled his citizenship. So the guy who was born in Russian Federation, who doesn't have any other documents, any other citizenship, any other permanent residency, for example, and he refused to take any other citizenship because he says, okay, I am Russian citizen and I want to continue my political measures against Russian authorities. So his citizenship was cancelled, and it is absolutely against Russian constitution. So I bring this example not just to speak about Russian opposition, but also to speak about our peace process with Russian Federation. If you remember, the special envoy of American president, Mr. Stefan Witkov, said that Putin promised him that he will include in Russian constitution the point about not to start the new war against Ukraine and Europe. But they don't, the Russian authorities, they don't follow their own constitution. They just don't follow that. If they were follow Russian constitution, Mr. Putin was pensioner, not the president of Russian Federation, because the last presidential term of Mr. Putin was ended by 2008, and all the afterwards, this is against the Russian law, against the Russian constitution. So who cares? Who cares about Russian constitution? Russians, they don't care about constitution.
Because Russian constitution remains an empty paper, Putin can write there everything he wants, and only he.
Yes, but Iryna, till today we thought like that, yeah. But today, this example with Mr. Yashin, the Russian opposition leader, says us anything else. That they don't care about this constitution. They don't change the constitution, especially for Mr. Yashin. Yeah, they just canceled his citizenship, and they didn't care that this is exactly against the constitution. They don't care. They could do that, so they don't care. Like also this war, when the war against Ukraine started by Russian Federation, it was against the constitution. Russian Federation, by the law, they can't start this war, but they started, as you know.
But, on the other side, on autumn 2022, Russian Federation, including our territories, Donetsk region, Lugansk region, Kherson region, Zaporizhia region, Crimea, to their illegal constitution. And a few days ago, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, told that all world should recognize these territories like Russian because they included them to their constitution.
Well, that's a sophisticated logic, but this is absolutely senseless, and we understand that this is just a rhetoric tool by Mr. Lavrov, and this rhetoric tool does not have any sense, just any. So we don't care. We don't care in Ukraine and in all Western world what is written in Russian constitution. I believe that only Mr. Witkov, who is the special envoy of Mr. Trump, cares about Russian constitution. Who cares? Russians, they don't care about Russian constitution. Ukrainians not care about Russian constitution, and also the West countries. So who cares about what they wrote there?